Let's hear it, Tampa Bay, the hottest city in America.
It makes you absolutely world class.
A national map of sustainable communities.
It all starts in Tampa.
This is the stuff that makes Tampa the place you want to live.
For the win.
Hi guys, Taylor Wallace, and tonight I want to talk to you about my Jabberwockies. So the Jabberwocky is an infamous poem by Lewis Carroll from his novel Alice Through the Looking Glass. And it's a poem about slaying monsters and making sense out of nonsense. And I'm a person that's spent a lot of my life studying stories, and I believe we make sense of our existence through all kinds of stories. Whether they be religious, or the fairy tales we tell our children, or the visionaries of the stories of our great visionaries. So I'm going to share this poem with you and kind of tell you the strange ways it's impacted my life. It starts off, "'Twas brillig, and the slithy toves did gyre and gimble in the wave. All mimsy were the burrow groves, and the mome rats outgrabe." Obviously, lots of nonsense going on here. So, the next stanza goes, "Beware the Jabberwock, my son, the jaws that bite, the claws that catch. Beware the jub-jub bird, and shun the firmest bandersnatch." So it's a story of a father kind of telling his son to watch out for these things in the world that can kind of get him in the woods, and the son doesn't take his advice. He took his vorpal sword in hand, long time the maxim foe he sought, so rested he by the tum-tum tree and stood a while in thought. So he's ready for this monster, and he's kind of just hanging out, waiting for him to come and kind of pondering what he's about to do. And as in after thought he stood, the Jabberwock with eyes of flame came whiffling through the tugly wood and burbled as it came. So this monster is kind of coming at him, and here he is with his vorpal sword, ready to kind of take it down. And 1, 2, 1, 2, and through the vorpal blade went snicker-snack. He left it dead, and with its head he went galumphing back. So he's kind of forgotten that his father told him to not fight this monster, and here he is kind of running back to him. And the father, "And hast thou slain the Jabberwock? Come to my arms, my beamish boy. O frab to stay, Callooh, Calais," he chortled in his joy. So again, now the father has forgot that he gave his son this wise advice and avoid the Jabberwocky, and he's kind of just happy that he's slain it. And it ends like it begins with "'Twas brillig and the slithy toves, the gyre and gimble in the wave, all mimsy were the burrow groves, and the mome rats outgrabe." So when Alice first encounters this poem in the story, she can't really make sense of it. She knows something has happened, but she doesn't know what it is. Something has died, but she's not sure what. So when I first came across it as a wee choir boy, I felt much the same way, and I mostly just made jokes about vorpal swords and firmest bandersnatches. But you know, I knew I wanted to do something different with my life, and I kind of wanted to face these kind of Jabberwocky type creatures without putting in that context. So at the age of 18, I decided to move to Scotland. And it was there that I faced the poem again and was forced to study it this time. And I started to realize that what Lewis Carroll was doing was kind of trying to make sense of this nonsensical world that we live in. So while in Scotland, I fell for a girl that was there, and this is a picture she took of us looking for the Loch Ness Monster at Loch Ness. And I once recited the poem for her, and kind of a strange story I'm not going to get into. But she later dumped me on my birthday, and Michael Jackson died an hour later. So the moral here is, if you're not a believer and you want to assassinate Justin Bieber, some combination of the Jabberwocky love and your birthday will probably get the job done. So I had stayed in Scotland that summer to spend with her, and here I am, kind of girlfriendless with nothing to do. So I took a job as a caddy, and for any of you who haven't been to Scotland, I was the only American, and working with Scots that have been carrying golf bags and drinking for 40 years, they are definitely Jabberwockies. But that paid for me to do kind of a lifelong goal, which was to travel by myself for a long period of time. So I spent a period in Portugal, this is me there, and that was kind of another Jabberwocky I'd always wanted to face in my life. When I earned the right to dress like this after 4 years in Scotland, I felt like it was time to kind of find a new Jabberwocky. And after studying stories, I realized that the future of stories was in technology. So I wanted to kind of get involved in that in some way, but I wasn't really sure how, so I just kind of started shooting resumes around. And oddly enough, I got hired by a company called brillig, which happens to be the second word in the Jabberwocky. And it was there that I learned all about kind of big data and what the internet really means. And it was interesting because brillig acted as kind of this nonsensical deciphering system for me to kind of figure out what I wanted to do with my life. And I recently moved to Tampa from New York to kind of work on a new project, a mobile app called WeView, about sharing memories around events with the lovely partners at Haneke Design, your sponsors for this evening. So this is kind of my Jabberwocky at the moment. And it all kind of comes full circle because I've invited this poem into my life tonight, once again, by reciting it to you guys. And I kind of want to leave you with two thoughts. One is find these stories, you know, that you tell yourselves, however ridiculous they are, and invite them into your life. Look for them. And the other is, you know, find your Jabberwocky, these monsters, and leave them dead and with their heads go galumphing back. Thank you very much.